And we are live once again. Hello, guys. Hey, it's BigJackFilms here. Welcome to another live stream. Been a bit since I did one. I did one last week. It was mostly building Legos, and you know what? The last few have been pretty kind of like, let's do Lego videos and stuff. But now I just want to do some discussions and stuff. So, hope everybody is having a wonderful Wednesday. I know we were a bit slow on a couple of videos the last few weeks, but again, we needed a break. Highlight Post Films, High Decade Prime. We were on a bit of a break, but now we're back. We're back to work. And man, it's like, all right, Rangers, let's go. Back in action. We're back to work. Thank goodness. And we've got a ton of videos coming out. Some good news. The next review is in the can. It is ready to go. And tomorrow night, you will be seeing the trailer for the next review. And it will actually be, I was originally planning to have it out by November, the end of the month, but you know what? Screw it. It's going to come out a week Friday. So look forward to that. In a couple of weeks, you're going to see a brand new review. And we are immediately going to be working on the next one, which will be the season finale. And we hope you guys enjoy that. So that's been happening. I've got a bunch of videos already ready to go for the week. A couple of, bit more of the Kong soundtrack. I'm going to be working on a couple extra videos on the side, but I just need to, essentially, as Austin Powers would say, I need to get my mojo back, baby. Yeah. And we're back to business. It's all good. It's a pretty good time right now. So things are looking up. I've heard reports that vaccines are now 95% effective, which is fantastic. That means we can actually maybe go back to bigger productions next year. So let's look forward to that. A couple things have actually been happening, which is pretty cool. I've just been very chill. Actually, yeah, Batman just moved his head. No, that was me. That was me because it's kind of like fidgety. This is my bat suit, by the way. I wear for cosplays and stuff. I'll put it up so you guys can see the bat suit. But yeah, so that's been happening. I pretty much just took a break for a couple days. In fact, I've actually lost weight, which is great. I feel like I've lost a lot of weight lately. But yeah, the next episode will be out a week Friday. But what we are going to do is when we launch the trailer tomorrow, I'm actually going to put the episode early on Patreon. So again, guys, if you guys want to see the episode early, go check out my Patreon. $1 more will get you early access to all of our content as well as other special features. And we're going to start getting back into business again. I know we took a bit of time off. We just needed some time because we were actually kind of dealing with some burnout. But now we're back in business. So we're slowly getting back into it. But yeah, we're just here to answer some questions, comments, and if you guys have anything to say. Another thing accomplished that happens this month or this week. Our Godzilla vs. Kong trailer hit 2 million views, making it probably the most viewed video in our entire career on YouTube, which is crazy. And I really wish a lot of my videos would pick up a bit more. I know my Kong fan film is starting to pick up a bit, but I really want to try to hit that million views by the end of the year. I really want to see that movie hit 1 million views. I would love that. So guys, just go watch the movie again. Go spread it around like a freaking STT, I guess. I don't know. But man, that would be great to hit that 1 million view mark on my film at that point. That would be amazing if you guys could do that and help me out there. But yeah, that's happening. It's been pretty good. And we're going to start working on the next episode, the finale, by probably starting tomorrow night. But other than that, it's things like, I want to do more reaction videos. I know a lot of people have been asking for that. I'm going to get back to reaction videos. The first thing I'm going to do is a Thomas one, because I know a lot of you guys want me to do that, another one. So that will be on the agenda. It was his birthday. Happy birthday, Peter Jackson. Man. God, I love that guy. But yeah, we've got some more videos coming out. We're actually we actually also, aside from the trailer for the next episode tomorrow night, next month in December, you're going to be seeing a trailer, a very early teaser for a set of reviews that won't be coming out until 2022. Now, the reason for that is that we had originally planned a huge amount of ambitious episodes for the season this year. And because of COVID, we couldn't do that. So any big projects we had, we're pushing everything a year back. So everything that we had planned this year, we're hoping to do next year, meaning that episodes that were going to be planned next year are going to be pushed back a year in advance. So I'm not going to say what this set of reviews is, but you will not be seeing these until 2022. So essentially, we're kind of pulling a Matt Reeves Batman where, you know, oh, we're going to put out this trailer and the movie's going to come out in 2021. Now they announce, oh, it's 2022. Well, shit, we have a trailer out for a movie 2 years in advance. So it's kind of like an early, what I call a 25% trailer. That means it's for a production that's only been maybe about a quarter finished, and we're already putting out a trailer. So that's what's going to be happening. You're going to be seeing that in December. So that's happening. We're going to be doing more reaction videos. We're hoping to get back into opening nights at some point. We're going to probably start around December because I've got a few movies I want to talk about. In fact, Sean and I have been talking about on his channel doing a live stream, or even on my channel. I don't know if it would be something you would want to do, Sean, or like on your channel or mine. We want to do live stream watch-alongs because apparently watch-alongs are really popular right now. I think it would be fun to do one, and one me and him have been considering is Hook, the Steven Spielberg movie, because we're thinking about reviewing it next year for the 30th anniversary Spielberg's Hook. So I don't know, that might be something to do at some point, but we're thinking about doing a watch-along. If you guys would like to see watch-alongs, let us know. But yeah, things are looking up. Things are getting back on track. Really hope so. With this vaccine, I hope everybody just little prick and we're all fixed. We never have to hear from another pandemic again for at least 10 years or until I croak. Dear humanity, let's never do this again. Do you understand? Private Pile. So that's happening. Now, Light Post Productions had brought something to my attention tonight. There have been recent news of YouTube's new terms of service and changes, essentially. What's been happening is that apparently they put out a new change in terms of service where for small-time YouTubers it's going to be effective, but I think people are blowing it out of proportion a bit, where if you're not part of the partner program and you're not part of this or that, any videos that are not monetized, YouTube's going to monetize them anyway for their own personal thing. Now, I understand as a business, if you need to make some extra money, I get that, and if the copyright holders own that, fine. Look, I get copyright claims all the time, but half the time it's like I'm not worried about it because honestly, YouTube and the studios and stuff, they've been very, very fair to me. They've been very nice to me. I've been actually able to contact their email, which is cool. But basically, for small-timers, people think, oh, this is going to be the end of small-time YouTubers. No, actually, believe it or not, this is actually a good thing. This is a very good thing, because let's look at things, because know what it is? I am sick and tired of everybody looking at the negative of everything. One of the reasons I started my review channel, my review show, was to talk about the positives of movies. I was so sick of the angry reviewer thing. I wanted to talk about movies I wanted to like. I want to like that I'd recommend. That was the start. And that's where I'm at with real life. It's like, I'm sick of the negativity. Let's turn something negative and make it a positive. So when people say, oh, there's this new terms of service, it's going to ruin everything like they always have. It's never happened before. We were able to adapt and we've been okay. People do this every time there's changes. Here's the positive note about having all videos monetized, copyrighted, or on the partner program or not. If you're a small-time YouTuber, which I know a lot of my viewers are, this will actually give you a shot to actually have more viewers, because if your video is monetized, you're going to more than likely see more viewers and everything. And, you know, especially for people in the partner program, there's going to be more viewers. There's going to be more subscribers. So for small timers, this is a good opportunity to take advantage of that so that your video, it looks professional and you can and they put ads on it. Now, here's the thing. I think what people are saying is, oh, well, I'm entitled to that money. If you're part of the YouTube partner program, no, you're freaking not. The issue here is that, you know, in the meantime, YouTube will be making money on your videos if you're not part of the partner program yet. They will be making monies. They will be making money. And the thing is that it is a way to pretty much, it's like a free job, right? And I get it. If you're good at something, never do it for free. But for me, let me put it like my story is that I started YouTube when I was 15. in 2007. Wasn't making a dime, wasn't making anything. I was right in the middle of high school, didn't even have a job. And I did it just for fun. I just like making YouTube videos. Even if I'm not getting paid for it, guys, I just like doing it for fun. I like to entertain people. That's just what my lifestyle is. I make videos, I make movies. I just do it for whatever. I'm not in for it for the profit. The profit is just an extra thing. The fact that I'm on the YouTube Partner Program, the fact that I am paid through YouTube as a full-time job, is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Very appreciative of YouTube, and it actually has advanced me. It actually has helped me actually do bigger projects. Like, I wouldn't have this friggin' Batman thing without YouTube, honestly. So basically, I'm always grateful for YouTube giving me the partner program. But at the early days, I didn't care about the money. I just liked entertaining people. I just liked having fun. And I think that's what everybody should have the mindset with YouTube. It's not about, everybody's now on the mindset of, if I work really, really hard, if I do the best content I can have a chance to get paid on YouTube. But look, the early years, you're going to be working for nothing. You think, like, once you get the partner program, YouTube's going to automatically pay what they owe you? No. Those years that you work, no, they're not going to pay you for that. You can make money after, when you get partner, you can monetize your video, but that's not how it works. And I think there's a mindset for small-time YouTubers and YouTubers who just don't like YouTube think, oh, I'm entitled to this. You're not. You're not. You have to earn that. I earned this, and I worked really hard on it. So, guys, don't see YouTube as, you know, it is a challenge. It is a game. It is a game that you have to play really hard, but, you know, you can't go in the mindset that you're going immediately for the trophy. You got to go into the mindset of just playing a good game first. That's how it is. You know, when did we become, I mean, I get, like, YouTube's essentially, for a lot of people, it's Easy Street. It's Easy Street. You know, the song from All Dogs Go to Heaven too. Easy Street, where the sun's always shining. Like, it's not like that. It's Easy Street if you make it Easy Street. It's Easy Street if you want to earn it. It's Easy Street if you just want to start by having fun. So that's just my only tip for all the small timers on here who are 200, 300, 50, whatever, starting up. You got to have fun with it first. You got to do it on your own time, when you feel like it, when you're in the mood to make a video. I'm like, I'm going to make a video today. That's where you start off. You can't go in the mindset of, I'm going to make this video and it's going to make me famous. See? No, that's not what it is. So that's just the only thing. You know, that's the only thing that is a problem. And I'm just trying to give it a positive. So people who are saying, oh, they're going to monetize your hard work, even though you're not part of the partner program. They've been doing that before. I don't see the problem. So people are trying to make it a problem, to make it sound bad in order to fulfill their agenda. So again, for those who do, you know, deal with you, who do that, just stop. Just look at a positive of it. So thank you, Lightpost Films, for bringing that to my attention. Do not let it discourage you. It is just a minor change. It's not a big deal. Everything on this planet is a big deal. I could drop a freaking, I don't know, I could drop a bag. Instant big freaking equals a nuclear bomb equals Black Handsome! He dropped a bag! It's so ridiculous. But I think we're entering a new decade. We're entering a new era where that's not going to be the case anymore. So let's hope to God it is. So that's where we're at with YouTube. I wanted to bring that to you guys' attention. If you guys got that email, do not panic. That is the trick. Don't panic. It's not a big deal. So there's that. So let me ask a few questions. Let me answer a few questions since you guys have been very patient. Sorry to go on that tirade. I just wanted to make sure people aren't worried about it, because lately I've been actually, I've gotten a lot of my confidence back, which is great. But also lately, I've been actually trying to help people who have been a bit more down, because I'm kind of like Coach McGurk in home movies, where I give the shittiest advice. I tell it straight up what it is, and people say it works. So, you know, I'm like the cool uncle who just has the worst advice, but it works, because I don't try to sugarcoat it. The only thing I'll sugarcoat is offering you a Coca-Cola. Please, Coca-Cola, at one point, they need to sponsor me. They just need to pay me in drinks, and I'll do a video for them. So let's answer a couple of questions. Review Singing in the Rain. I have never seen Singing in the Rain. I know the songs, but not really a movie I would really talk about, David, unfortunately. Not something that's really up my alley. Especially musicals. Like Les Miserables, they're just not. The only ones I kind of like, or the one I do like, is Phantom of the Opera with Gerard Butler. Only because it's just a goofy cartoon. Honestly, like, freaking Gerard Butler, when he's singing, "This is the point of no return." Am I the only one who thinks it sounds like the Yelp commercial? And I wake up in the morning, I'm still asleep, I really don't know what not to. It sounds the same, and it's so funny. Oh, God. React to Godzilla's signal point. Is that the anime? I'm not gonna lie, I'm really looking forward to that anime. I'm really wanting to watch that. That actually looks really, really good. And also, in case you guys are wondering, yes, I have been watching Yashahime. I have been loving the shit out of it. It is so far the best show on television right now. I know a lot of people are with Mandalorian right now. I know a lot of people like Mandalorian, and I need to catch up on Mandalorian. I've heard so many good things. And I know about some of the spoilers, but it's like, I'm looking at this coming week. I'm looking at Friday, and I'm like, Friday night and Saturday morning, guys, what a time to be alive. Not only do you have a very popular character from Star Wars returning from The Mandalorian without saying anything, but the next Yashahime has some backstory that's going to be really, that has its audience on edge, because they showed the preview and you're like, oh, and without revealing too much. So I am looking forward to this Saturday mornings Yashahime at 6 a.m. For us here in Canada, it's 6 a.m. When Yashahime airs, because they air it in Japan, I think in like the evenings, but then they bring it over and they sub it and they put it on Funimation shit on Saturday mornings at 6 o'clock. So it's like, it's great because I'm having flash of it, like, yay, Saturday morning cartoons, let's go. It's going to be amazing. So what a time to be alive to have two great shows airing around the exact same time frame. It's wonderful. So I've been watching Yashahime. I've been enjoying the hell out of it. I'm also simultaneously watching the English dub. I find that, side note, I find that really fascinating that the English voice cast, some of them I'm friends with. I'm friends with Kirby Murrow. I'm friends with David K on Twitter. David K actually follows me on Twitter. Yes, Megatron. Yes, he follows me on Twitter and keeps constantly asking me for raw Energon Crystal. It's great. I love David K. But I love all these guys. They're great. But the fact that I would ask them if they would want to come back and they say maybe, you freaking liars. You've been already doing this since probably the early start of the year. So I love the fact that Funimation and Viz, they pulled a J.J. Abrams on us, meaning, oh, we may come back. Oh, surprise, we were doing it this whole freaking time. We didn't tell you. Genius, you clever bastards. And I say that in the nicest way possible. Oh my God. So I am so excited for this week's episode. I am looking forward to it. And also, yes, I will be bringing back the Inuyasha vlogs probably around February 2021. You will see new episodes because I need to talk about a certain film first before I get to the next season. Because, I will say this right now, just as a bit of a spoiler, we are going to be reviewing the first Inuyasha movie, not as a vlog. We're going to be doing it as the first episode of this season's Big Jack Films reviews. Because I figured, look, the show I can talk about as vlogs, but the movies I actually want to talk as a review, as a movie review. So you guys will be seeing that January 2021. I can happily say we have a full completed script. I can say that right now. We have a script, and we are probably going to be starting to shoot around when the snow really hits here, because we have some stuff that requires snow. So yeah, the script is happening. The script is here. We have it written. I've actually written, believe it or not, guys, I have written the first 2 episodes already of the next season. So we're catching up like wildfire right now, which is fantastic. So that's what's been happening. That's some of the updates. And again, when I'm probably going to be working starting tomorrow on the season finale, which will be due at the end of the year, which will be the last video of the year probably. So that's great. Let's see. Review of Lawrence of Arabia. I really like Lawrence of Arabia. That is one I would love to talk about, especially with my buddy Josh, NGamer64, because that's one of his favorite films. I would love to discuss that. That would be a good co-review, actually. I would love to talk about that movie someday. Maybe someday. Not on the schedule right now. Let's see. So I was watching Knight Rider when I heard the stream was on. But Michael, wait. You can only watch this stream once per week per episode. I don't watch Knight Rider, but I know who Kit is, and I know about that. What script movies are you doing this year? You mean reviews? Again, the only one I can say that I'm doing currently right now is the first Inuyasha movie. That will be the first episode of the next season. And I don't want to give away too much of what's happening next year. We have to see how COVID does. If things clear up, we'll be able to go back to bigger productions. We'll be able to go back to the big scale productions that we really missed on this year. We had a big funny enough, we originally had 2 season finales planned, but COVID has made that difficult. So thankfully, it's actually kind of a blessing because it means less workload. So we're already going to be working on the season finale. It's already actually in the cutting room. It's already on the editing section. So that's a plus. I might review your Kong film. Yeah, go ahead, man. Absolutely, GMK boy. I'd love to see a review of that. And yeah, we're going to get back to reaction videos. We're going to do a few more things, but things are being planned. Say, Jack, what's your favorite T-Rex design? It's really a toss-up between the Jurassic Park, the original, and the 33 Kong. It's really a tie between those two. Those are, to me, the definitive Rex designs. And pretty much anything by Charles Knight. Charles Knight's paintings, which I've seen up close in New York, by the way, are wonderful. What do you think is some of the most... okay, how do you feel Home Alone just turned 30 this year? I turned 30 in a year and 2 months. I don't want to think about that right now. Honestly, Home Alone, I like the first 2. I don't like the rest of the sequels. And I know Chris Columbus actually told Disney to fuck off when it comes to doing that remake. They say it's pointless, which I'll give him props. Like, look, Chris Columbus hasn't made a good movie in a couple of years, but you know what? I will give him mad props for defending his original film and saying that the remake sounds like a piece of shit, which it does. And also... okay, not to break topic, but we need to talk about this Tom and Jerry trailer. Now, I was very cautiously optimistic about this movie because from what I saw with the leaked trailers and stuff beforehand, it looked like they were kind of going back to the basics of Tom and Jerry. This was going to be a Tom and Jerry-centric movie where it's just, because I was expecting it looked classic animation. It was going to be in live action, which I'm okay with, but it was going to be classic slapstick Tom and Jerry, and including the original music, ba 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 da 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 Tom and Jerry, Tom and Jerry. I love that shit. Because I used to grow up with Tom and Jerry. I grew up with Tom and Jerry on Cartoon Network back in the early days when they did their marathons. I watched a ton of those. My favorite Tom and Jerry cartoon is The Four Mouseketeers. With that song, we live grateful, but happy and free. Soldiers of fortune are we? I love that. And also with the movie, I would really love to hear that song in the movie. But also, we were probably going to see, when Tom screams, it's like I love that. And the first Tom and Jerry movie, I know a lot of people hate. I personally like it. I know it's nowhere near close to the original Tom and Jerry content, but for the first movie, they actually did try something. They actually did do something. And sure, I watched it recently after this trailer dropped, and I kind of liked it. Like, there's a couple things I can defend. The voice acting's good. Tony Jay is great in that. Tony Jay and Rip Taylor are the best things in the movie. And then the music is actually pretty damn solid. The animation's good, but the music's great. It's Henry Mancini It's the guy who did the Pink Panther theme, you know, bottom. And I actually do like what the music he did with the Tom and Jerry movie. It was good. Granted, the last chase scene in the movie, I liked as a kid, but then I watched it again. I'm like, this is just a ripoff of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. What the hell? So I finally see this trailer, and I was immediately turned off. I was like, this is the same shit that we thought we killed about 5 years ago. This is another set of popular licensed characters ending up in realistic New York City in a hotel or whatever, and hijinks ensue in New York City. I am so sick to death of New York being the place for established licensed characters. Every one of these is literally this character, insert character here takes Manhattan. We have had, okay, can I just point out also how overused New York City is? New York is, I'm going to take this, I hate my hair right now. New York is so overused in movies. Think about how many characters now reside in Manhattan. They are overcrowded. Their budget in the movie world must be costing a fortune to fix everything these characters do. I mean, I can name all of them. King Kong, Zilla, Ghostbusters, Avengers, The Smurfs, Jason Voorhees, The Muppets, Kevin McAllister, Tim Curry, Rorschach. They're all in freaking New York City. Can we, I don't know, now you have to deal with Tom and Jerry. Put them in freaking New Jersey or somebody. Nobody goes there. Maybe they can fix it up. Oh my God. I'm so sick to death of New York. I'm being the place where the fictional character comes to the real world. Like, granted, it's not a good movie, but at least something like the Fat Albert movie did something different. At least Godzilla King of the Monsters did something different. They went to freaking Detroit. They didn't go to fucking New York. At least, you know, but I'm so sick to death of that. And just seeing Tom and Jerry do these tired cliches, tired, you know, tropes that are huge right now. Like, let's put these characters in New York. Let's see the hijinks ensue. Let's see, you know, let's put Tom on TikTok. Because that's relevant. Okay, you know what? I love TikTok. I use TikTok all the time. You guys can go check it out there. But fucking product placement I am so sick of it. So, not to sound terrible and pick the poison, but it's going to be a very interesting discussion next year. Tom and Jerry the movie, 1992 versus 2021. I'm going with 1992 because at least then they had a movie. They had something that wasn't tropes. It wasn't cliche. I mean, it was cliche, but they didn't have tropes. They didn't have shitty product placement. And yeah, they were thinking about it without any of the marketing. This new Tom and Jerry literally takes that line that Tony J said in the original. We've got to have money. That is the whole movie. I can do Tom and Jerry 2021 in 5 seconds. We've got to have money. That is literally this whole movie. I don't give a shit. Sure, it's good animation. Sure, it's looks like 2D animation. Sure, it looks like Tom and Jerry, but you're doing these tired tropes. Give me like the compilation on YouTube of all the best Tom and Jerry moments in the movie, and I'll watch it. But I have no desire to see this. Good to see you, Kingzilla. We're talking about how shitty that new Tom and Jerry movie looks. It's not, you know what it is? It's not even Mouse Hunt. You know what it is? No, what it is? The new Tom and Jerry movie is just Home Alone 2. And I love Home Alone 2. I love Home Alone 2. I actually think it's better than the first movie. And it's not just because it has Tim Curry. It's because it's a decent film. It's actually, I find it more funnier than the first one. I find the whole abandoned complex that Kevin sets the traps in, I find the traps in the second one funnier than the first one. You know, and the first one had limitations. This one actually has the ability to just go crazy and do whatever they want, and I loved it. Yes, it suffers from I have diagnosed this form of sequels as a sequel that suffers Chris Columbus syndrome. If you don't know what this means, I'm going to put it in my show. Chris Columbus syndrome is where a sequel pretty much does the first movie over again, except bigger. It's the same plot points, the same beats, just bigger budget. That is sequels have done that, and it's mostly been found in Chris Columbus movies. Most notably, Home Alone 2 is the first one. Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets, it's just the first one. You guys name me some movies that suffer from what's called Chris Columbus syndrome, because that is literally what they do. They literally just repeat the first movie over and over again. It's the first movie. Yeah, you know what? Even with him in it, but who cares? It's something you can laugh at now. It makes it even more funny that you can just laugh at it like, oh, Kevin, you dodged. Oh, Donald, you dodged a bullet with fucking Kevin. Oh my god. Oh my god, he would have knocked you out. But yeah, so I like the first Home Alone. I like the first two. Not care for the sequels, but I like the second Home Alone over the first one. So when movies do that, where they have Ghostbusters 2. Thank you, Donnie. Thank you, Donnie. Ghostbusters 2. It's Chris Columbus syndrome. Lost World, I'd even argue, has a bit of Chris Columbus syndrome, but it's not as bad. I'm just trying to think of some other movies that have done that, other sequels. Oh, Hangover 2. Hangover 2 has Chris Columbus syndrome. That was awful. I didn't even bother seeing the third one. Third act of Back to the Future Part 2? Yeah, well, that was more of a satire of that. I can let that one go because it actually does do something different. It does, like, tell it from a different perspective, right? Like, it's the first movie, but it's a different perspective. Back to the Future 2 is basically what I want to see with basically another Cloverfield sequel. Because here's the thing. I love the first Cloverfield. Thought it was a very decent monster movie. I remember seeing the second one, and I actually did not like it. I know John Goodman was good. I know it had it was, but you know what the problem was? Is that you promised me a sequel with that title. I expect the monster to show up. I expect this to be a sequel. I expect this to be the aftermath of the monster. Like maybe they're hiding in the bunker because the monster's outside. We haven't killed it yet. You know, it's the equivalent of making a Terminator movie where these guys have been in a bunker for 20 years and they don't ever go outside. Why? Because the Skynet's up there. You know, but what they did was they pulled a Halloween 3 where it was just, they tried to do an anthology series. I don't like that. You know, the Cloverfield first one was set up to be a kaiju movie. I don't like the idea of it being an anthology series. I would much rather... I already had my idea for a sequel. And you could have done it in the same vein as like the Paranormal Activity movies. Except it's interesting because there's something actually in front of the screen. There's a monster. I would have called it the sequel, Cloverfield B-Roll. The reason I call it B-Roll, or Cloverfield the Second Angle, right? Because you can pretty much do the first film, like the monster attacks New York, but you can tell it from a different point of view. Because you look at that in scenario, monster attacks New York City. There would be people with cameras up the ass everywhere. In fact, now if you did it, about 75% of Manhattan would just be like, monster, ooh, you know? You can do cool things with this franchise. You can have it where it can have different angles, like to tell the story of survivors of this monster attack. You know, like imagine that. Hell, you could have a bit where like they pass by the other characters from the first one, a little joke, a little cameo. Like, yeah, okay, I can buy that. And they didn't do that. I'm like, that's stupid. Hell, you could explain stuff that the first movie didn't do. You can have, you know, the aftermath of the nuke going off in Manhattan. You can have, you know, talking about what happened after the monster blew, like they tried to blow him up. Did he survive? Were there more of them? There are ways you can actually tell this franchise better without it being an anthology movie. Human 2 more. We are talking about how I think Cloverfield should not have been an anthology series. It should have been a series about one event, but from different points of view. It just would have been more interesting, I think, if you could tell this story from every survivor's angle, essentially. So that's just, so we're talking about sequels and stuff. Basically, the fact that sequels either do the first one again, which I call Chris Columbus syndrome. They do, obviously, something, an anthology series. They do a reboot. They do, try something different with a sequel. Okay, you know what? We're going to play a game, all right? I'm going to play a game. Name me a franchise that you want to see a sequel, and I will tell you what I would do with the sequel, and you can decide if you like that idea or hate it. So, go. Name me a franchise. I shall wait till I have a sip of Coca-Cola. Let's play this game. Gamera. Okay, Gamera. Or Jaws. You know what? I'm going to pick Jaws first. Okay, let me just, okay, so Terminator. Here's what I would do with Terminator, Smith. We're going to go through Terminator, Jaws, Night, Decade Prime. We're going to go through all these. Okay, wow, there's a lot. Okay, let's do Terminator first. So, my idea for a sequel, we do what they're doing. They're trying to ignore sequels that are kind of shit. I would ignore everything up to Salvation. Why? Because we continue where Salvation left off. They had originally thought to do a trilogy that was going to be about the future war. That is what we've been wanting since the end of 2. We've been wanting just a prequel film about the war. My idea for Terminator is that you basically pick up where that left off. The next one, the 5th one, would be obviously Christian Bale's John Connor is still around. You have Sam Worthington. You have it take place 20 years after that. So here, the characters have aged, do that, right? Here's a catch, though. We can have it where basically you do what they did with an interesting topic with 5 and 6, where you can bring back Arnold and say he's aged, but here's what you do. You have it where he's a Terminator that was simultaneously sent back at some point, but it was actually, he survived the nuclear no, wait, let me rewind. So it's after 4, this is 5, this is after Salvation, this is continuing from Salvation. You have Christian Bale, you have Sam Worthington, you have them all come back. But you also bring back Arnold. And how do you explain this? He only voices the Terminator. Well, you're like, well, what's the point then? Because the Terminator in this one that protects him and whatnot is just a skeleton, is just an endoskeleton. We have not seen that before. Do you ever notice in every Terminator that every time he becomes a skeleton, the fucker doesn't talk anymore? Do you ever notice that? Now, my idea is that we have sort of a partnership with the T-800 in a full animatronic skeleton and Christian Bale fighting side by side. Now you're wondering, why would this Terminator fight with the humans? Well, first of all, maybe have it where John Connor is actually trying to test. They actually do capture Terminators and build prototypes to see if they can reprogram them. So we see the process of them trying to reconvert these robots before they send them back, the one back and try to protect John Connor. Now they're testing chips and everything. But here's the twist. The Terminator in this one that sides with Christian Bale is actually the same one from Terminator 3. Now you'll see where I'm going here, because Terminator 3 and the last shot is the skeleton after the fallout. The thing shuts down. The eye shuts down. That doesn't necessarily mean the CPU was destroyed. Now, imagine if a group of freedom fighters find that T-800, and it looks a lot more rusty than the new models. They're like, this thing's been here for a while. They take it to John Connor. He realizes it's the one from the third one. The CPU is still intact. So what do? They take that CPU, that chip, and they put it in a new skeleton. So now it is the equivalent of taking a USB with memory and you put it in another computer where you can access it. So have it where John as the final test to see if this will work, they take that CPU and they convert it to the new body. And then, you can have them and you can actually come out and you can have the Terminator, the skeleton, go, I am back. And he looks like fucking Ahmed. Something like that. And then they go and fight side by side. And then obviously end it where, maybe he gets destroyed ultimately or whatever. But then you do part 3. And this is where it gets interesting. Then you do the 6th one. And this is what I would do. You bring up the time travel thing. You bring up the fact that Skynet has actually been developing the time travel or whatever the lore was. I can't remember what Kyle Reese said in the first one. But anyway, so basically it's the final battle. It is the battle to save the human race. And while you're, so basically you have John and them fighting, and maybe unless they're fighting in the battle and everything, and the dark with the blues, the darks, the lasers, the purple lasers, maybe John kind of looks a corner and he sees the T-800 and John Connor. Maybe he thinks it's like a flashback or something, but then it turns out we think it's a flashback, but it turns out to be the T-800 and John Connor from the Terminator ride, because that is actually in some ways canon. Because it takes place sort of in the final battle between humans and machines, but it's actually them who take out one of the generators, one of the Skynet generators. So you have that interconnected. So maybe John just kind of slightly sees it and he's like, oh, it's nothing. Okay, back to fighting. So they get to the, so basically it's him and he has the chips, each individual program chips, the CPUs for each Terminator. So they have to go into the Skynet base and they have to raid it. They have to capture a few T-800 skeletons, program them, the CPUs into them, and send the 2 Terminators and Kyle Reese to their respective timelines, right? So you see where I'm going here? So basically, it ends where maybe even the T-850 that was in Terminator 3 that died in 5, or yeah, in the 5th one, he actually had a backup CPU. He had a CPU backed up on another hard drive. So they take all that information, they take the 2 CPUs and Kyle Reese, they program them, and then they send them back in time. And the movie ends. The final Terminator ends. The battle's won, but they have to still go back in time to the respect. They have to follow destiny. So it ends with the shot of Kyle Reese in the frickin' landing in the corner, and he takes out that cop, and you just hear cut to black, and the last line you see is him grabbing the gun from the cop, and he says, "What day is it? The date! What year?" Cut to black. The whole franchise becomes a circle story. Meaning we don't make any more sequels, we don't make any more. You take a 6-part epic and you start it, you end it, and it brings you all the way back to the beginning. It is essentially a video game. Because think about it. You beat a game, what happens? Would you like to play again? There you go. That's what they should have done. And they just kept thinking, let's just keep rebooting it. That is so freaking stupid. So that's just kind of like, what do you guys think of that? That Terminator should have been a 6-part circle story. That is just, it's a constant cycle. I think that would be more interesting than just keep doing sequels. So that's what I would do. Okay, so we have Terminator. So let's see, what were some other ones? Let me just scroll up to the comments. I'm going to read a couple here because we had a couple. We're going to go, everybody gets their turn. Everybody lined up. What's the next one? Let's do Jaws. Okay, so my idea, how I would fix the Jaws franchise. How could I do the perfect sequel? Okay, so let's think about this. I would say Jaws. This is a tricky one. I would say you essentially pull a Halloween 2018 or Halloween Returns as the fans have called it, where you ignore 3 and 4 or you acknowledge 3 and 4, but it is a bit tricky. What you do, here's kind of my concept, is that it's 50, 60, it's 50, so let's say this takes place in 2025. 50 years after the events of the first one. And we see a car driving through Amity. It's the first car that's been around in a couple of years. And they go to the island. It's all, it's pretty quiet. And it's Richard Dreyfuss's character. It's Matt Hooper, the last survivor of the Orca, of that fatal day. And he goes to Amity just for old time's sakes with his family. And he sees that the town is pretty much gone. Not to say that it's wiped off, it's a ghost town. Amity is a ghost town. Like a Western ghost town, like ones that have been abandoned. And, there's only a few people running the town, keeping things to themselves. Maybe they just live there and they just go to the second town. It's sort of this haunting vibe. We're not even at the shark yet. Richard Dreyfuss comes out and sees the town. He sees, like, the mayor's office is graffitied and trash, saying, Vaughn sucks, Vaughn destroyed, whatever, and then you just see all this. And he comes across this old resident. It's kind of like that scene in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, that guy with the knives who's like, down the rushing rapids. Nobody ever goes in, and nobody ever comes out. But instead, here's the catch. He's a guy who said, like Richard Dreyfuss is like, what happened here? And the old man's like, nothing's been the same since the Brodies left town in '87. The Brodies left? Yeah, we've never heard from them again. Since then, the town's gone to complete and utter garbage. They left this place abandoned. A lot of people think it was the Brody family. There was a curse. They left and they took that demon with them. It's like, demon? It's like, yeah. Basically, it's like that scene in The Birds where that lady goes up to the girl and after the birds attack, like, why are they doing this? I think you're the cause of all this. You're evil! Evil! I love that movie. So, I guess Dreyfuss is kind of just there. It does become essentially like sort of a thriller, like a psychological thriller. It becomes a primal fear. Now, we're not even at the shark yet, so maybe it's just something where, the town's just not what it used to be. There is no demon. No, it's just basically the concept that the Brodies were the reason the island kept around, but then when the shark attacked, they decided to leave, and then the town went to shit. It's just that kind of idea. So that they're intertwined with that. But not like Jaws 4, where it's freaking ridiculous. But then there's the concept that maybe we see shark attacks. We see shark attacks, very much like the first film, where we don't see the shark. We don't see the shark, but we assume it's a shark, that something's attacking maybe the neighboring next door town. It's the next town over. So Richard obviously wants to investigate it, and nobody believes him. Everybody thinks he has amnesia. Maybe they think he's an old man with delusion. He's delusional. He has Alzheimer's or something. And then, finally, there's maybe a minute where a shark attack of some kind or whatever, something does happen in the water. And that's where Richard Dreyfuss says, okay, that's it. I'm going to go take out this thing. I need to finish this. This is for you, buddy. This is for you, Quint. Right? And maybe, it'd be great? Bring in Quint's son. Because have you seen Robert Shaw's son? He looks exactly like his dad. And shit like that. But anyway, so kind of end it like the first one. Richard Dreyfuss goes to confront this and try to say he's trying to lure me out, like something. You feel the paranoia with Richard Dreyfuss. You feel his fear, his primal fear, which is what the first Jaws did so well. And then when he goes out there and he confronts it, it turns out there's a twist. There was no shark. Now, we do see the shark, but we find out it's all the fears that Dreyfuss had. It was the primal fear, the thing that he thought he saw. It was like PTSD. It was like trauma, like the trauma of that. He sees that kind of vision. It's because I know a lot of soldiers and veterans deal with that, where they can see shit that they saw in war. So something like that where they, he sees it, but we only think it's attacking because we're seeing it from his point of view. Like his vision. So it turns out that all the they were just incidents. They were accidents. Like one of them actually turns out to be a boating accident. So yeah, it's just sort of, we see the shark, we tease the fact that it's going to be a sequel, but the fact that the shark was just all his paranoia. Because you know what it is? Because here's where it stems from. I deal with that. And the reason is because when I saw Jaws at a young age, it did traumatize me. There are times I will jump in a pool and I can see the shark jumping out and grabbing me, and it's just like, it freaks you out. It really does. I have a fear of going in the water. So take what the audience feared, what audience took away from the first one, and make that a film. That would be interesting. And if the studio say, well, we want the shark to actually attack because that's what audience is, but no. No, but then you become Alien Covenant. You do it because, wine, it's what you fucking want, you whores. Like, no. Let's not go there. And then that would be the last one. Don't do any more, no more than that, and just basically do that as a Jaws movie. That would be fantastic. You catch the audience off guard, you make them think you're seeing another sequel, and they're going to go, I want to see where this goes, but you completely 180 them. So let's do the next franchise. See, I have good ideas. Hollywood just keeps repeating the same freaking shit. Let's do one more. Let's see here. Oh my god, there's so many comments. Jesus. Okay, let's do... I can't do Gamera. I would just, if anything, do a sequel to the Heisei era. And Gamera versus Godzilla. Kong. Okay, I can kind of answer this one, but I will in a sec. Let me just see if there's one more. I don't know Gremlins. Don't know. Okay, I will do Superman, and I will do King Kong. Those will be the last two of a franchise I could do, okay? So let's do Kong. Let's say it's my Kong. Or it's like, because I know a lot of people ask me, what would you do with King Kong as a sequel? This is a question I get a lot. In fact, I want to do a King Kong review of it of some kind, because it is one of our most popular questions. So if I've always thought about what I would do for a sequel. What would I do? What would the characters be? What would it be about? Here's what I would do. I will get to that one in a sec here. I will get to that one in a moment. Kong. My Kong. If I were to do a sequel. Basically, my concept is that in terms of what happens afterwards, my guess is that Jack and Anne actually went off the grid and they actually did get married. But Anne suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder. She does suffer from, trauma from what happened. And she feels guilt-ridden of what happened to Kong. She feels terrible what happened with Kong. And Jack is trying to make a living for both of them. He's the one doing all the work, but he can't help but feel bad for his wife. Bob, who I written in the novel that he's actually the son of Captain Englehorn, who's head of Englehorn Corporation, the oil company, and he always saw Jack as his favorite son, even though he wasn't his son. So that's why Bob actually really pretty much committed mutiny. My guess is that Bob now pretty much runs the ship. His dad died, so he's inherited the family, the company, and he's calling all the shots. So he's actually made some money. He got off unscathed. So the theory is that now that Skull Island is essentially on the maps, a lot of people try to go to it, and the government keeps telling them to back off, or some of them go in and they never come out. And it's still there. It's still there no matter what. And at this point, it now becomes a United Nations issue, because now world enemies are actually trying to get on the island to try to, I guess, weaponize it or discover it, and for their own evil purposes. So the government basically decides, okay, well, we need to beat these guys to the punch. We need to beat the Russians. We need to beat the Koreans. We got to get there before they do. So the government enlists in Bob and, a couple people on his company, obviously, because they had some experience. And they also bring in Jack. And Jack, basically, we're pulling a Jurassic Park 3 where Jack is basically Alan Grant, who saw a lot of what the island before, and they needed an expert, so they brought him. And the idea is that I think Anne would more than likely not go. I think she would stay behind because she's just not stable enough to go. And the concept is that, obviously they want to do research on the island, and they get there, they crash land, and now they have to figure out how to get off, right? It is Jurassic Park 3. Now, here's the other catch, is that obviously Jack is their only shot at, escaping the island and surviving. Because when he was with Anne, he actually did take up paleontology with her, because she was an archaeologist. She knows about paleontology. And the idea is that he learned from her. So he knows what these animals are like. So that's one of the things that happens. So, and then obviously he meets up with Bob, and I like the idea that it's kind of like the relationship between all the original Pirates characters and James Norrington in the second film, where it does become this sort of rivalry between the two, and everything of who's in charge. And, maybe even they settled their differences. Who knows? So while that's going on, obviously you have some shady military guys, and, you come up with an interesting plot, but it's basically a mix of Lost World and Jurassic Park 3. And the only thing I would also not do, no Kong. We have no Kong in this movie. Because I want to establish what Jackson established. This Kong was the last of his kind. There is no son, there is no lady, there is no queen, there is no prince. This movie would not be called King Kong 2. This would be called Skull Island. That's it. It would not be anything more. No Son of Kong, nothing. It would be just a trip to this island. And that's it. It would not, it would be a smaller, bit more of a bigger scale production, but not too big. But it would be mostly, new dinosaurs, new creatures, old creatures, but nothing. I would just, and if you ask me, would you put a saber-toothed tiger? Would you put a mammoth? No. Just stick to the dinosaurs and I'll be okay. I would not go for anything more or less and end it like Son of Kong. The other thing I would keep, the island does sink. It's gone. And it becomes a survival thing. It becomes a story of survival. So that's what I would do with the sequel. I do want to discuss it in a King Kong review because I may not make a sequel, but to basically, for popular demand of people who want a sequel, I will do what I did with my, the Son of Kong review I did for the Jackson movies, where I will talk about but instead I'll be like, here's what I would do for a story. Here's how I would tell it. I don't have the ability to do it right now. I would probably never have the ability. I think of the movie as a one-shot deal, but if I were, here's my ideas, basically. So that would be sort of the thing I would like to do. Now, Huey had a question about the Jumanji franchise. How would I pull that off? Okay, so let's discuss the Jumanji franchise. Now, I enjoyed the last one. I didn't see the new one. I didn't see 3. I'm still calling it Jumanji 3, but I haven't seen it. I like the humor in the second one. I know a lot of people had different opinions. Here's what I would do. I would focus on, obviously, Robin Williams is not here with us anymore, so he cannot be in the sequel. I would get Joe Johnston back to direct. Again, give it sort of a Jurassic Park 3 vibe. But basically, the returning kids from the first one would come back. That means Kirsten Dunst, and that means the little boy. You have them come back. And maybe, you sort of do like a redo. But again, you kind of do what they did with the last one, where instead of the game coming to our world, we go to the game world. I would do that, but I would actually, and I would also stick it to, no, that's the thing. That's the thing, Huey. I am ignoring the Rock movies. I'm saying this is my Jumanji 2. This is Joe Johnston's Jumanji 2. I am ignoring the Rock sequels. I'm just saying that I enjoyed the second one, didn't see the third one, but I'm answering your question, how I would do 2 without the Rock. So, keep the board game. Kirsten Dunst comes back. The kid comes back. And here's what I would do. Here's kind of the thing I would do. A, you do what they did in those movies where they go into the game world, but you don't make it modern. You don't add helicopters. You don't add this or that. You make it a rough, wild, dangerous jungle, venomous creatures, deadly creatures, the hunter. You keep all that the same as the first one. The same tone, the same darkness, right? You keep that, right? You keep all that. And you just have you have Kirsten Dunst and shit, right? So all that. And you could do that, but then here's another twist. Here's what I would do. I would pull a reboot. Like, not a reboot franchise, but the reboot cartoon. Because one of the darkest twists I ever saw in Reboot was the end of one of the seasons. Erase the timeline. How would you kids come back if playing the game was erased from the timeline? This would probably be their first time playing it again. You play with that dynamic that this is the first time they play it. Maybe you can even have it where they may not remember, but the people like the hunter in the game remembers. Maybe have some sort of weird twist where you think, oh, they don't remember, but these do. Just play with that dynamic. But anyway, so in Reboot the cartoon, there is a season finale where Enzo, I used to watch Reboot as a kid, where Enzo goes into the game. Warning, incoming game. Normally they get out of the game unscathed. But guess what happens in the season finale? Game over. All right, let's go, Enzo. The user wins. They lose the game. And this would be the sequel. Basically, the second film would end. They lose the game. They lose. Game over. And it wouldn't be a video game. It would be a board game. They lose the game. And there are severe consequences when they lose the game. Because not only do these characters stay stuck in the game, they not only stay stuck in the game, maybe they even become they freeze into little players like, right? Little like things on the game. Not only that, the game enters our world globally. The whole world, the whole planet becomes Jumanji. So when they lose the game, the weeds, all the animals and stuff, they start crawling and consuming the entire planet, and the planet becomes the game. Now, when you do the third one, you have it where some of the characters actually have to, maybe some new characters, play the game to end this, to get back to normalcy. That's how you push it to the next level. You make them lose the part 2. You lose the game. You lost. And now the world is screwed. The world becomes Jumanji. Then part 3, you have new characters play the game, and they fix everything. And it's a sigh of relief. That's how I see. Dark, Johnny, dark. That is the one thing I really did not like about the new Jumanjis. When I heard they were making a sequel, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. You are disrespecting Robin Williams. This is not going to be like the first one. But with part, like the one they did make with The Rock, I did like the humor in it. But I would have gone much darker for a Jumanji. Like, come neck and neck. Both tones are just so out of place. The first one was dark. It scared the crap out of me. The new one was fucking hilarious. I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like when one franchise stays to its roots. It's dark. It's scary. That's what I would do with part 2. Part 2 ends. They lose the game and the world. Yeah, Jumanji. Game over. There's your. How has no sequel ever used that title other than Spy Kids? Spy Kids 3D. Game over. Come on. I want an actual sequel to something it's the darkest chapter, and it says game over, meaning we might lose. And we do. So, in answer to your question, Huey, that's what I would do with the second and third Jumanji. I would go dark. I would go crazy. I would go where we lose in the second one, the planet becomes the game, and then we have to reverse that. I watched a recent video essay on how the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie, 2 and 3, were actually the predecessor, the prototype for they were the prototype for Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, because they kind of do the same thing. You have an established plot and villain. The villains win. Characters die, and then you bring them back and you wrap it up. I love that. And, I watched the Pirates movies again. Like, you know what? They're good movies. Like, I have fun with them. They're nothing special, but I have fun with those Pirates movies. And I watched the second one again, because it's funny, because for the longest time, for about a decade, I watched the first Pirates and I love it. I actually skip a lot of part 2. I found part 2 to be kind of boring, except for the last third. And I actually go more to part 3. I really like the third one. The third one's epic. It's huge. 4 was Last Crusade. It was just a fun, small adventure. And then 5 was the weakest, but I still had fun with it. But I went back and watched part 2 again, and I liked it again. Because I'm like, wow, this got dark, this got suspenseful, and I felt like I never even seen the first movie again. I kind of, that's kind of where I'm at. So, now I will say this. Okay, I'll do another franchise. let's talk about what I would do with Pirates of the Caribbean 6. Wrap up every established character from the previous franchise. Jack's character, either he dies or he sacrifices himself. Will Turner wraps up his story with Keira Knightley and his kids. Wrap up Davy Jones. And you know what? Davy Jones, it's kind of weird because they kind of established in the 5th film that he is back, that he is essentially going after Will Turner. And I would say it is more of an apparition. He is an apparition, Davy Jones. My idea with Davy Jones, if you do bring him back, he is an apparition. He is not his full physical form. Even though the curses were all broken, he's the one curse that still stays the same. So he is cursed to stay in his cursed form. And my idea is that it is kind of what they did with 5, where the Triton of the Poseidon was able to control the sea and shit. You do that, but have Davy Jones actually control the sea. Have him actually create a tsunami. Make him form one with the Kraken. Something like, make him literally Ursula in The Little Mermaid at the end, where she becomes a giant fucking... Do that. Go crazy with this character. And here's what he does. Here's the idea. Because one of the biggest disappointments I had with the 3rd Pirates movie was that the final battle was great in the Maelstrom. That was awesome. Don't get me wrong. That was amazing. But you establish with all these fleets of ships and not one of them fire a single fucking shot except for the Pearl and the Dutchman. Do a final wars on this Pirates franchise. So what you do is the Pirate Lords and everything, and you know what you do? The Pirate Lords and the Royal Navy decide to unite. They do unite. They unite because Davy Jones has not only a tsunami power Kraken Ursula shit, but he is able to rise ships, sunken ships from the ocean, and use them as a fleet. There, yeah. So you can do the undead pirate thing again, but instead he can like raise the ocean and bring out these fleets of undead, of like these wrecked ships with dead people and stuff, and you do a full-on pirate war. You have it where every ship is firing. You can like hop from ship to ship. You can do all this crazy stuff. Imagine that. So you have it, and I don't know. I think the title I would call it kind of. You do it, but you do it right, Smith. You do it right. I would say have it where basically it's like that. But what's great is, unlike Star Wars, they actually established that the character came back in the last movie. So, that would just be this huge, big battle, is that there's this huge pirate war. And you know what you call it? Pirates of the Caribbean. War for the Sea. War for the Sea. There. Or Water War. I don't know. Just War for the Sea is what I would do, essentially. Okay. Erica Van Heller 92 sent us $5 donation. Thank you so much on the super chat. What's your favorite movie that makes you think about life? Click with Adam Sandler is one of those movies for me. A good movie. I'm not one for Adam Sandler movies much, especially nowadays. I like Happy Gilmore. I do like that. I like some of his 90s movies. I didn't see Click. I've actually heard recently people hated it when it came out, but now it's actually done better. I might check that out. I don't know. I might check out Click, but I hated Bedtime Stories. I hated Pixels. I hated Jack and Jill. Modern Adam Sandler just sucks. Oh my God. Unless he makes Happy Gilmore 2. I don't give a fuck. But again, thank you so much. Who was this? Eric Van Heller 92. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Guys, go subscribe to him. Go check him out. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. We really appreciate that. That helps go support future projects. Thank you. How to fix Dragonheart. Dragonheart 2. Simple. you make a sequel, you ignore all the crappy sequels, and you actually make it the same budget as the first one. You get characters from the first one to come back. You get Dennis Quaid. You ignore everything. You bring back Dennis Quaid. You bring back... Did Jason Isaacs die in the first one? I can't remember. Bring them all back and basically do a follow-up. Maybe have it where there is no dragon. They have to fend for themselves. Maybe at the end establish a dragon. Maybe Draco's spirit does show up. But establish, I don't know, call it Dragonheart War for the Dragon. Dragonheart War for the Old Code. And you establish more of the Arthur mythology. You can have dragons in Dragonheart, but make it a flashback. Make it Draco. Maybe he doesn't talk, obviously, because Sean Connery is no longer with us, but do something like that. I would love that. That's what I would do with the Dragonheart movie. Is just make it a direct sequel to the first one. Ignore all the other shitty sequels. I remember I saw A New Beginning. I was so excited for that. I got it on home video. I watched it, and I liked it. Looking back on it now, oh my god, it's fucking awful. It's garbage. Oh my god, it looks like a TV movie made in the 80s. It looks, you know what it does? It looks like a poor version of an episode of Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. And I love the Hercules and Xena show. This looked poorer than that. And the villain was awful. Oh my god, who was that actor? A Drake child. There's another dragon? Just, oh my god. Oh, no. Let's see here. Thoughts on 8 Crazy Nights? That one's okay. It's a funny Christmas movie. I like my Christmas movies to be dark comedies. Like, my favorite Christmas movie of all time, guys, just heads up, is Bad Santa. If you guys want to know my favorite Christmas movies, go check out my top 10 Christmas specials. That was my first top 10. And actually, it's funny because I thought about doing a Christmas special at one point. Like doing a Christmas special, because I've missed doing that. I want to talk about a couple of movies that I actually missed on my special. I want to talk about The Nutcracker Prince with Kiefer Sutherland. I really like that movie. Actually, basically, some of my favorite Nutcracker movies. I like the Macaulay Culkin one. I like the Kiefer Sutherland animated film. And I like the Care Bears Nutcracker. Care Bears Nutcracker is amazing. But in terms of other Christmas movies, I want to do a review of the second Sailor Moon movie. Because I consider that a Christmas special. Just stuff like that. Like, there's things I do want to talk about. But, yeah, like, 8 Crazy Nights is okay. Bad Santa, Eric, Bad Santa is a hilarious, like, the funniest Christmas movie. It is the most foul-mouthed, crude Christmas movie. It is, like, no mercies given. It's a great film. Billy Bob Thornton's best movie. Did I say Reign of Fire? I did. It's Terminator, but with dragons. Nothing really else to say. And it also does have Christian Bale, and he is our John Connor. What about Richard Donner's Superman? How I would fix it? Well, they tried it with Superman Returns. And I actually do. I'm one of those people who will actually defend Superman Returns. But if you were to say, here's the thing with Superman. It's really the DC multiverse. Now that they've established the multiverse does exist, I see a lot of ideas as essentially retconned, where what's the point? What's the point of making them if they are already established? I really don't see it. So, because, you try to do a sequel to Superman Returns, and then you have to deal with, oh, wait, the continuity says that Superman became the Kingdom Come Superman from the Crisis. Okay, well, what about with everything up to... Okay, the only way I can see it happening... all these ideas, I'm stuck at a wall at what DC's doing, because say, okay, you want to continue on after Superman 4. Okay, let's, he crosses over with the Tim Burton Batman. No, wait, we can't do that now because we have to wait to see how this Keaton Batman Flash movie happens. If that's going to be in the continuity, is he going to cross over with the Reeves Superman? So you're stuck in a block in the road. Nothing with DC I can really do right now until this Flash movie comes out. I want to see where they go with it. Gremlins. Can I be honest? This is going to sound really bad because I'm actually friends with the director. I've never seen Gremlins. I'm so sorry. I've never seen Gremlins. You know what? I will watch it over Christmas. I think it's going to be an opening night for Christmas. I have never seen Gremlins. I feel really bad for saying that because I do talk to Joe Dante a few times on Facebook. I like his other movies. I like Small Soldiers. I like Looney Tunes Back in Action. I've just never seen Gremlins. Oh, God. I've never seen Gremlins. Can you believe it? I mean, oh, dude. Yeah, and that's the thing, Huey. If you think I'm friends with a lot of people, you'd be surprised. David K follows me on Facebook. I talk to him occasionally. I talk to a lot of the cast of Inuyasha and Sailor Moon. I'm friends with Haley K, and if you guys don't know who Haley K is, Haley K was the voice of Nicholas and Darkheart in the Care Bears movies, but his other most famous role, he was the kid that jumped off Niagara Falls in Superman 2. So yeah, Superman saved Darkheart. Right? You know, I've got a lot of friends that work in the business. I don't talk to them often. I just occasionally ask them for like, you know, I just occasionally just ask them for guidance. I don't try to push them to be cameos or anything. See, that's the thing, people. Like when you're friends with people in the business, you don't ask them for favors. You know, that's got to be something that you got to earn. You got to get their respect first. So people saying, oh, you know Joe Dante, that means you should fucking, you know, that means you should get them to do a cameo. Like, no, it's not my place to do that. It's not my place, and it's completely disrespectful. I would not do that. So I just go to them for guidance. Like, I know a lot of people at Weta Workshop, who worked on Lord of the Rings, who worked on King Kong, on the Peter Jackson movie. But I just ask them questions regarding productions and stuff, like, and just kind of for research purposes, for, you know, to put into my reviews. Like, I do talk to them about it. Like, when I did my 96 Kong review, I did reach out to some of the people who worked on it, who, you know, I talked to. I met, before he passed away, Bertie Wrightston, the comic book artist. He was at Fan Expo, and I got a little information from him. I said, hey, man, you know, I know you're pretty busy, but I wanted to know what your time on the 96 Kong was, because he did a lot of the concept art. And he said, I had a really good time doing it. Like, I'm surprised you know about that artwork. That artwork has been obscure for years. I'm like, I really thought your artwork made it look good. He was very nice about it. I've met a few people in the business, and like, I mean, I'm not friends with her per se, but I've met her and she's extremely nice. Linda Hamilton. Met her at a Comic-Con with Michael Biehn. They were together. I mean, I met them a few times, but I met Linda Hamilton and I said, you know, you still look amazing. She was very complimentary. I mean, I was a young kid, right? And I told her, look, I know not many people like it, but I really liked King Kong Lives. And she looked at me and she said, you like that piece of crap? I said, I grew up with it. And she said, I'm surprised a young man like you knows of a piece of shit like that. So she acknowledges it's bad, but she's appreciated the fact that I liked a movie that not many people considered was good. Because I see, even in a bad film, I see some good in it. There is some redeeming qualities because there is something there. It's literally the equivalent of a golden bug trying to dig its way and burrow its way out of a log of shit. You know, so it's crazy. I can tell you the names of people I've met in the business. I've met Mark Hamill. Mark is a really nice guy. I met Gary Kurtz before he unfortunately passed away, the producer of Star Wars. I got to ask him about George. I've met Anthony Daniels, very nice gentleman. I met Peter Mayhew. Guy was tall. The legends are true. The guy was tall. He was a gentle giant if there ever was one. You know, I could have met Carrie Fisher. She was at Fan Expo with Ian McDermott. I didn't meet either one of them because their lines were way too crowded. I've met Adam West and Burt Ward, and Adam was extremely nice. Very grateful I met him. Met Burt Ward. Burt Ward's a really cool guy. Met Kevin Conroy. Really cool dude. Actually, Kevin Conroy and Adam West, Batman and the Grey Ghost, were actually sitting together at the con. I've met Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman I met for different reasons. Not for, because most people go to see him for Lost Boys or Goonies and shit. For me, I met him because he was in a really shitty animated movie that I actually grew up with as a kid. You guys might know because NC reviewed it, The Magic Voyage. There is not one behind the scenes info on that from anybody who worked on that film. So I made it my mission to say, okay, Mr. Corey Feldman, I literally went up to him and I said, hi, Mr. Feldman, great to meet you. Great guy. You're doing such good work. I need to know, man, the Magic Voyage. And he just started laughing. He's like, oh, it's one of these really obscure fans who like the stuff not many people know about. I said, dude, I just need to know. Because I know that movie's not that good. I mean, I grew up with it and I liked it. But I said to him, was that a paycheck job? Was that a job where you just needed a paycheck, where you need to pay your bills and stuff? And I said, just be honest. And he said, you know what? It was a paycheck job. This is what Corey Feldman told me. He said it was a paycheck job. But I actually took it and actually had fun with it. He said he actually got to work a lot with Dom DeLuise, the late Dom DeLuise. He said he was a very gentle man as possible. And he got to do the songs with them. He actually did duet with the songs with them, which he said was really fun. But yeah, Corey Feldman, really great guy in person to meet. Really nice man. Very nice man. I'm trying to think of some other people. I've met a lot of the cast of Inuyasha. I've met Richard Ian Cox. Very cool guy. Very sweet guy. You know what's funny? I could have seen Kirby Muro, who voices Moroku and a bunch of other stuff. He was at Anime North, but he wasn't on the guest list. He came at his own free will. I gotta give him credit for that. He came at his own free will to come to Anime North to see fans. I'll give him respect. I have met Scott McNeil. Scott is freaking awesome. He is like the uncle we all have. Like that really cool uncle. Like he is great, Scott McNeil. Very nice man. Really nice guy. Oh my God. Like because I actually did do some voice impressions for him. He said, dude, that's actually really fucking good. I'm like, I know, right? Like and he said, did you go to school? And I said, no, I just kind of learned by myself. And he's like, that's very impressive of you. I'm trying to think, like, what are some celebrities that I met that I was actually just kind of, that was so cool. For me, it was obviously Adam West, Mark Hamill. Mia Farrow was, oh my God, that was where I was just like, oh my God, I'm meeting somebody who did the voice of a really great, one of my favorite animated films. Because Mia Farrow, a lot of people knew her from like Rosemary's Baby, obviously. I knew her from The Last Unicorn. And when I went to Fan Expo, this was actually last year, I think. Was it last year? I think it was. Yeah. I met Mia Farrow. She had nobody in her line. And she was in the very corner of the autograph sessions. And honestly, I think, she just didn't. You look at Mia Farrow. Honestly, when I saw her, she looked so sad. And I think it's because she's went through a lot in her lifetime. Remember, she's been through around some pretty shitty people. But, she obviously was there for, obviously the horror stuff. Not many people saw her for The Last Unicorn. People went to her because of the horror genre. So I went up to her, I had my DVD, and I said, it's such an honor to meet you. I've loved this movie since I was a child. My grandmother had taped it for me as a kid. And I grew up with this movie, and I got the author of the book to sign my DVD and everything. And I said, I was willing to pay up and say, can you sign this for me? And she said, I'll do it for free. She's such an angel. She's such a nice lady, a wonderful lady. I would honestly, if Mia Farrow ever shows up to a con, guys, go meet her. She is so sweet. Very nice. And I really wish there were more Last Unicorn fans that went and met her, because the fact that you announce Mia Farrow and you don't bring, and I remember looking at the pamphlet and there was nothing on The Last Unicorn, which is ridiculous. The Last Unicorn is an amazing film. It is the best goddamn thing Rankin Bass ever did. And you don't acknowledge that she was in that. You acknowledge her for this movie she did with a piece of shit director. With a terrible human being. Yeah, no, Fan Expo, I'm sorry. Don't do that again. But there's my soft tribute to Mia Farrow, I guess. So that was one I was really just kind of blown away and so grateful for that. A lot of the voice actors for Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball was a real pleasure to meet. They were, because the thing is, a lot of the Sailor Moon voice actors I'm friends with because they're actually local, because the show was dubbed in Toronto. So they're actually friends of mine. I can consider actually those group of celebrities, I consider them really good friends because they are wonderful people to talk to. Wonderful people to talk to about the show and what they worked on and what you grew up with. So that's been a plus. It's funny because, like, I don't think I've ever met anybody who worked on Power Rangers other than, okay, again, I was at this is a crazy story. I was at Fan Expo, and I was taking the elevator because, it was just really, really crowded. And I took the elevator, and I was entering the elevator, and obviously somebody else was coming in and needed a hold. So I put it on hold, and I turn around, and I realized, oh shit, it's Amy Jo Johnson. It's fucking Kimberly, the Pink Ranger. I grew up with this shit. So I just kind of like looked and said, and I just kind of tweeted. I'm like, oh my God, Kimberly, hi. I didn't say Kimberly, although that would have been fucking hilarious. I was like, oh my God, Amy Jo Johnson. That's you grew up with you as a kid, and she's like, oh, that's sweet, so stuff like that, little encounters I've had. Trying to think who else I've met. I've met Christopher Lloyd a few times. Christopher Lloyd's wonderful. Christopher Lloyd is a wonderful human being. Great guy. I've met Chris Sheridan. Chris Sheridan, who most people know as Prince Humperdinck and The Princess Bride. I give you full marks for bravery. Don't make yourself a fool. My father's final words were, love Princess Bride. I met him, and a lot of people know he's also the voice of Jack Skellington in Nightmare Before Christmas. Another great, wonderful person. Jared's question. Say, Jack, what's your favorite characters from the Monster Wars Godzilla anime film I told you about in my letter? I am not sure. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, Jared. I just have not had time to read that full thing because you sent me almost like a novel. And it's just so much to read. And I try to read as much fan mail as I can, but, at that point, it becomes the letter Doc Brown said with all the details. But I read the majority of it, just the summary. I just want to see what the final product turns out to be before I can really give my opinion. Yes, Greg Scott. Thoughts on Stargate? I have not seen Stargate. I've never seen Stargate in my life. Not really something I know much establishment on. But I'll say this. I will say this. It made for a good Lego Dimensions device. Okay. How many Jurassic books and comics? I have the two. In terms of the books I have the two Crichton novels. I have a couple of kids' books I had as a kid. I have the Making of books, which are wonderful books. I think they're kind of rare now. That's about it with Jurassic Park. I mostly stick to the DVDs and the original Crichton novels. Jared does have a cool question. If I met Robin Williams, and how do you feel on What Do You Hear When Dead? If I had met Robin Williams, that would have been one of the greatest moments of my life, because talk about a guy that is not only full of bright spirits, but you try to go encounter him and try to pull a straight face, you won't be able to hold your laughter. You won't be able to hold it in. You'll just be constantly laughing. There's been a few people I've actually met like that. Like, I met real life Peter Griffin, the cosplayer who goes to all the cons, doing amazing Peter Griffin. Cannot look at him in a straight face. Cannot. He says everything like, hey, it's Peter Griffin. Remember, when you poop in your dreams, you poop for real. You can't even say it. I'll say this story behind the scenes of one of my episodes. When I did the King Kong video games episode, I had met James Rolfe. I mean, James and I were friends through email. Really nice guy. We talk a lot. We keep in touch a lot. And when we did the cameo, it was kind of a last minute thing because we went to just say hi to him. We just said, hey man, hope you're doing well. And he actually knew who I was because he said, oh my God, dude, you're the guy who does the Kong reviews. I watched your show to get research for Kongathon. I'm like, oh, thank you so much, man. And then we were walking around the con, and then afterwards I went back and said, hey, just out of curiosity, just throw this out there. Do you want to do a cameo in my next episode? I'm like, and he's like, absolutely, because he loves the show. And I told him, well, it is the King Kong. I'm talking about the video games now, and I hope you don't have anything planned. Like I just said, like if you have anything planned, it's no worries. And he said, I was asked that question on Twitter if I was going to do Kong games, and he literally said, he told me, no, I'm not going to do it. Not enough shitty King Kong games. He literally said, like, not enough shitty games. I'm like, and I told him, dude, I've been doing my research. There are some bad ones. I told him the DS one is garbage. So I said, okay, well, I'm doing there's an Atari game, an unofficial Atari game that was just a clone of Donkey Kong, and I just want you to let's just improvise. We'll just come up with something else, stick it at the end of the segment. He said, yeah, sure. We did, I think, like 2 or 3 takes because we didn't want to waste up his time. Every take, even the one that's in the final cut, you can see me fighting not to smile. It is such a struggle with James. Like, and it's not his fault. It's not his fault. He just, when he gets into the nerd character, you can't keep a straight face. You cannot be angry. Your anger, if your character is angry, it cannot balance himself with his character as the nerd. Because immediately when we did 3 takes and I was just like, oh, this game sucks. What do you think, James? He's just like, sucks, monkey fuck. I literally, the first 2 takes, I was just like, I said, I'm sorry, dude, that's just way, just interacting with him as the nerd is just way too funny. So we used the last take right when I said exactly, I was like air like a freaking balloon was coming out of my mouth because I was holding in my laughter. I was looking at me like, because I'm trying to hold a straight face. Oh, but God bless James. Great guy. Love to work with him anytime I get a chance to. But back to Robin Williams. I was really sad when he passed away. I thought, what a fucking loss for the industry. What a terrible thing. But you know what? The guy was having issues, and it was up for him to decide. Look, I think it was terrible, but if that's how it is, it's like, that's how it is. He could have gotten help and everything. I understand that. But at the same time, it's like, yeah. Death's a funny thing, and it's not something I want to talk about much because it is depressing, but I am so sad that he's gone. I still am so upset. Can you imagine what he would do today? The kind of shit he would make fun of today? Him and George Carlin. The stuff he could learn today, the stuff he could talk about us today would be crazy. So that's Robin Williams. And Robin Williams walked him off. Oh, Jordan, that's so sweet. He offered him ice cream. Okay, getting ice cream with Robin Williams. Goddamn, yes. I felt that. You met William Shatner. Nice. I mean, I've heard mixed things about Shatner. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Shatner, but hey, if you met him, if he was nice to you, props, man. Very much props. I have seen Fern Gully. I am not a big fan of that other than Tim Curry. In fact, I would say that's one of Robin's weaker films, per se. I didn't even... Because the thing is, it came out around after Aladdin. And I know Fern Gully came first, but his humor in Fern Gully compared to Aladdin felt really dry. So the jokes didn't click much with me. There was one joke I thought was funny in Fern Gully, and that's in the battle where he's like, all right, we're going to war. I'm like, okay, that's funny. That's funny. But the rest of the movie was just kind of bland. I actually was one of those kids who really did not like Fern Gully. I thought it was really, really not good. And they were all ripoffs of other characters. Freaking Krista was fucking a mix of Ariel and Jasmine. Freaking Zach was just Eric crossed with John Smith. It felt like a Disney ripoff at the highest regards. So there's that. Oh, nice. That's really cool. It's really cool, Smith. You should meet Robert De Niro and Kate Winslet. Yeah, I would love that. Anybody who's worked on Kong, I would love to meet and do interviews and talk and say, hey, like if I met Kate Winslet, Robert De Niro, Bruce Campbell, or even George Clooney, I would be like, okay, so I did research on this project that was going to be like a Kong remake that was going to be made in the 90s, and I've heard so many sources and people who worked on it that like Mr. Clooney, you were signed on to be a part of it. Were you given any calls? Were you considered? Was there any perspective on your level on that? And I would even ask the same for Kate. I think Kate Winslet would be the most likely to answer because she was already signed on with Jackson from the very beginning because she had just worked with him on Heavenly Creatures. So I would have just been like, hey, if you hadn't done that, you wouldn't have done Titanic. And Titanic's a fucking masterpiece. So there's that. I met John DeLucas and Brent Spiner. I met Brent one time, and I thought, oh, he was cool. I actually met LeVar Burton, and it's funny because, like, I just kind of, again, I kind of just said hi to him, you know, and shit, right? He was really cool. And then he brought up that he was Kwame in Captain Planet. Now, I didn't watch Star Trek Next Gen. I watched a bit with my dad, but not enough to really remember anything. But I remember him mostly for Captain Planet, Kwame. And I said, and I was like, wait, you were Kwame from Captain Planet. And he actually did the line. He's like, yes, let our powers combine. Earth. And I was actually like, oh my God, I did not know that. What the fuck? Very nice guy, LeVar Burton. Really cool dude. Really cool guy. Yeah, I mean, I like Star Trek, but I'm not as big into it. I've seen a few things here and there, but I'm not as massive as other people are. So I'm more of a Lucas hound. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Jack, I'm not asking for an opening night. I'm asking you to watch this movie on your own time. Love and Monsters, not the Doctor Who episode. It's a recent movie that started streaming on 2016. Maybe I could probably take a look at that at some point. I just don't know when. My schedule, I mean, I'm already planning out my schedule. My next opening night, I've made promises time and time again to look at the Jungle Book movie, so I'm going to do that at some point. I just need to find time. So just for now, I'm focusing on these last 2 episodes of the show. It's a Wonderful Life. That's something I can maybe look at because I do like that film. I just only seen it a few times. It was really emotionally heavy, so. Please review Baby Kong 76. Yeah, okay, so that is another episode I do get a lot of requests for. Is the Baby Kong movie that never got made off the ground in 76. That was one of the spoof or parody or ripoffs. The thing is, there's not much production notes to really have a full episode on. I would say, if anything, I could probably do a quickie on it along with the Roger Corman Kong that was planned. I could probably do like a double feature, sort of, here's what I think this movie would have looked like, and here's what I think this movie would have looked like. You know, like, because there's not much production notes to go on other than what were announced. So maybe that would be something to do. I could probably talk about that. The Roger Corman and the Baby Kong thing as a double bill. Maybe someday I could do that. But that, because I'm going to start writing down what people request me for. So I know if I miss anything that people can actually let me know and then be like, okay, I should talk about that film, especially with Kong, because what's going to be happening is without giving too much away, after these last 2 episodes, we are no longer going to be announcing in the credits what the next episode is. That gives us more time to really be sporadic and just talk about whatever the hell we want with Kong. So in that time frame, I do have some episodes pretty much on the schedule of what I want to do, but it's not going to be where I'm just going to, you know, make a schedule for the whole year. It's going to be very sporadic with Kong reviews now, where if I feel like talking about something, I'll talk about something. It's not going to be something where it's going to be obviously planned. Like, the next few episodes after this, there's going to be 2 I have planned in March. One's a big one, and one's a sort of an editorial that I would like to discuss with Huey Tumor on, because it's something I think him and I have been discussing and wanting to do for a while, but we will give that time. So we'll see there. But yeah, that's pretty much in terms of requests. If you guys have a request, shoot me a message on Patreon or shoot me a message on a comment below so I can at least make a note to write it down. Because I do want to, if there's some movies you guys want me to discuss in terms of Kong or in terms of stuff I enjoy, please do send me comments my way. Hey, Bryce is back. Good to see ya. We're actually going to start wrapping up soon. Thoughts on Mary Poppins? I like the first one. It's charming. It's fun. Chim Chimmery is the best song, and I hated the sequel. Thoughts on both Rango and Don Bluth Thumbelina? Rango, I actually really hated. I really did not like that film. And it's not because of, okay, the visuals are nice, but the story was lame, and I thought the Clint Eastwood cameo was fine, but here's the problem. It was less the movie itself. Like, the movie itself was just bland. You know what my biggest issue with that film was? The theater I saw it in. That was one of the worst movie theater experiences I've ever had in my life. there were fucking kids screaming and throwing food and shit in that theater. I couldn't even focus on the film. And what I saw was just bland. But the whole movie, it was, Clint Eastwood wasn't in it, but he was more so just kind of like a figure, like the man with no name was in it, sort of. But yeah, the movie theater experience was god-awful. A lot of kids, a lot of screaming kids. It was garbage. Every time I see that film, I just think bad movie experiences. And then thoughts on Don Bluth's Thumbelina. I like Thumbelina. I like that adaptation. There's only a few of that fairy tale in particular that's actually decent. I can name two. There's the Don Bluth film. A lot of people know the Don Bluth film, and I actually think it's okay. It's sort of a knockoff of Aladdin, but it's a good knockoff. Like, that was when Don was kind of doing knockoff films of Disney because he couldn't compete. But there's one that was made, I think, in like the 70s. And it was an anime. It was a Thumbelina anime movie. And it's something I've actually wanted to talk as in terms of obscure media. Sort of like Brad, like a little thing maybe me and Brad could do. It was I want to just basically title it. There's a Thumbelina anime. I would like to talk about it. Right? No, he wasn't in Thumbelina. He was in Rango Smith. There's a Thumbelina anime made in the 70s, and it was made by Toei. And it was one of their earliest animes that they've produced. And it was like a movie. It was a movie. It wasn't a TV series or anything. It was a movie. And the movie, I remember, I think I still have the tape somewhere. My grandmother, when I was a kid, taped a lot of movies for me. And I had this tape double billed with, like, of all things, the Care Bears movie on a VHS. And I remember there was this Thumbelina anime, and I finally found it. I found it online, but I remember the dub. It was the English dub. It was an early English dub. And, for some reason, it reminded me of, like, the original Ocean dub for something like Dragon Ball Z Dead Zone, just the voices and shit. Don't know if Ocean made it, but it was a very interesting anime adaptation of the story. And, like, a lot of the sound effects come from, like, things like some Gamera films and shit. Like, it had that very, like, I didn't notice it as a kid, but looking at it now, it had a very Japanese vibe to it. And it's like, oh, because it's an anime, of course. So that's my take on Thumbelina. I like the Tom Bluth movie, and I like the anime movie. The anime movie from the 70s is pretty decent. Okay, so I'm going to answer 3 more questions, and then we're going to call it a night, and I'm going to answer these 3 by Bryce, Clark, and David. Bryce says, thoughts on the live-action Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers? The movie's not good. I'm going to say that right now. The movie is not good. It is actually pretty bad. However, the one thing that actually I did find there were some moments he was funny. Mike Myers, not as the cat. As the cat, he's terrifying. It's terrifying makeup. But he at least did deliver some funny moments. He was actually consistently funny. The fucking cook show scene. That scene actually is funny. Like when he chops his tail and he's like, oh, I have it. Soda! Like, that shit's funny. But yeah, it's not a good movie. And you can tell it was a paycheck, but I'll say this. Compare it to something like Mike Myers' The Love Guru, I'm gonna stick with Cat in the Hat. At least then there's some, it has one of the worst product placement jokes I have ever heard in a film where it's like, it's just like an amusement park. You mean like at Universal Studios? Cha-ching. I hate that line so goddamn much. Fuck that line. That would be a good list. The top 10 worst movie lines delivered of all time. Oh my god. Okay, second question. Favorite Sailor Moon character? This is a toughie. Because the show has so many great characters, so many great scouts and everything. I'm probably going to stick with either... I like Tuxedo Mask, because he does have a really decent character. He does, you want to see him break away from his lost memory. But it's things like, I like Artemis. Male characters, I like Artemis. Artemis is a cool cat, and it's also because I'm friends with Ron Rubin, who is the Artemis. I don't care about Joni on Bush. Ron Ruman is Artemis to me. He is a cool motherfucker. He's a cool cat. But there's I like Luna again. Must be because I'm friends with all these voice actors. Luna's great, especially in the second movie. The second movie, she's really good. And Scout's probably gonna pick Jupiter because she's probably out of all the teams, she's the most mature of the 5 because she's had the most experience. Aside from Venus, and Venus is my other favorite character. They both are the characters I kind of root for, so it's pretty much choosing the Green Ranger and the Yellow Ranger, because they essentially have the most experience. They have the better characters. I like the fact that Lita, I'm going by Lita. I know it's Makoto, but I'm going by Lita because I grew up with that. But Lita, you know, she's the kind of chick, she'll kick the shit out of you and then say, oh, I'm sorry, here's a birthday cake. I'm like, that's adorable. And then when she's Jupiter, she kicks ass. She's got the best freaking power. She's got electricity. She's got lightning. So everybody thinks, oh, Mars is the most powerful because she's got fire. I'm like, yeah, but lightning can do more damage. Oh my God. So that's another thing. Venus, I like for her kind of sweet personality, but also just because I feel like the fact she's kind of a klutz in a way, but it's like, it's comedy. It's funny, but she has her moment. She's the kind of the peacemaker of the group. And it's probably because her power mostly revolves around hearts and, you know, chains and loves and shit. So she's kind of the peacekeeper. So she's the kind of chick who, if there's a little boy crying, she'll sit down and give him a lollipop and give him a good Care Bears lesson about life, you know? I like characters like that. And then other than that, probably Neptune. Only because, like, again, she's more mature. She has a history. Her and her girlfriend, not her cousin, that's fucked up, but her girlfriend, they're probably the most combat driven. They are the ones who are fighting a war no matter what. They don't have time for play. So you gotta give them credit that they're like spies. That's the best part. They're like spies undercover, and it's great. So that answers that question. Then the final question from David the Master. Have I read any of the Indiana Jones books or comics? The answer is no. I have not really read any of the books. I know the books and the games expand on the Indiana Jones adventures. Now, I brought this up on social media. I know they're going to start work on the 5th one. And I know it was Harrison's idea. Do we really need a 5th one with him in it? Do we really need another Crystal Skull on our hands? Because, look, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment. You know, you may be excited now, but when it comes out, oh, it's fucking terrible. I'm sorry. I am not looking forward to 5. 4 was enough of a disappointment. I did not care for 4. It had its moments, but again, the weaker one of the series. I know Harrison wants to do it. I know he does. Now, here's the thing. I can compromise. I don't mind Harrison doing another Indiana Jones movie. Writing and directing, I don't mind. Starring in it, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Lucasfilm. This is a franchise you have to go the route of James Bond and actually reboot the fucking thing. You gotta get a different actor. Keep it in the 30s. Keep it in the 20s, 30s, and whatever that kind of exploration period of time from like 18th century to 1950. Keep it in that time frame, but think about how many more adventures you could do with Indy where you don't have to stick to such a strict continuity. You could do the route of Bond. In fact, that was one of the reasons Spielberg did Indiana Jones, was because he wanted to do a Bond movie, and freaking George Lucas said, I have the next best thing. So make it that next best thing. Make it Bond. Make it where you have to reboot this character a few times. You know, if an actor doesn't want to do it anymore, you get another one and you do a new series with new adventures, with new treasures. Think about how many other treasures Indiana Jones could find. He could find, you know, maybe an island filled with dinosaurs. You know, Indiana Jones and the Lost World, based on the Conan Doyle novel. Indiana Jones goes to Atlantis. Indiana Jones and the Mummy's tomb. You do something like that, you know. Indiana Jones and the Aztec gold of the treasure. You know, just stuff like that. You could do other adventures and just get a different actor. And my choice, believe it or not, is between 2 people. The actor who played Han Solo. I thought he was decent. But most notably, I think the best candidate to play the next Indiana Jones, Chris Pratt. He just has the perfect charisma to play Indy. I know people have said this, but it's like, you know what? If they're going to reboot it, if they're going to go the route of Bond, Chris Pratt would be an amazing Indiana Jones. Like, there's just things you could do with this franchise, but you're so stuck to one continuity. And what makes it even more of a pisser about 5, it's going to be set in the 70s. It has to be. Because it's been 20 years since Crystal Skull. That makes no goddamn sense. Unless you go the route of Kong 76, where you can still do that, but it's just going to feel so out of place to see Indiana Jones in the 70s. It feels so out of place. So I'm not looking forward to it. No matter what they do, it's not going to be good. So I'm not counting my blessings. I'm not counting on it being decent. Something with Indiana Jones, you can't go forward in time. You have to go backwards. You have to stay in one era of time. James Bond, at least because he's a spy, you can go anytime you want. You can go forward. Indiana Jones is a jungle adventure thing. You don't see that kind of shit anymore in the present time. So to do Indiana Jones in the present, no. Stick it to the 1800s, to the 1950s. That's just kind of where I'm at. We've already talked about that Tango Moped. We talked about the Tom and Jerry movie early in the stream. So, yeah, that's it for me about this live stream, guys. Again, thank you all so much. I didn't mind. Actually, it was a quick 2 hours. I'm surprised. If you guys have any further questions, let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support us for our channel, definitely go watch our videos. Go like, go subscribe, go comment, go share them around Twitter, share them around, send the word around. And, obviously support our Patreon. $1 more will get you early access to all of our content as well as other special features. Now, before I leave, I have a few shout-outs to make to some very talented people that could really use your support right now, especially during these times as Toronto and so on enters a second lockdown. First person I want to give a shout-out to is JTISREBORN. Guys, go check out his channel. Link down below. He does wonderful reviews on a lot of comics, DC comics especially. He talks about movies. He does reviews. He likes horror films. He's kind of like me in a way. Him and I want to do a collab at some point, doing a review or discussion on the movie Hook. So go subscribe to him. Second shout-out is going to go towards Lake Post TV, also known as Brock McGinnis, indie fan, Fandemic. Guys, go support Fandemic. It's a wonderful show. We want to see more episodes from him. He does review fan films. He really could use some support. So go subscribe to him. I really appreciate that, guys. Indie fan. He's wonderful. Link down below. And the third shout out, of course, is one that has actually been taking a break from YouTube. She will pick up at some point, but of course, LUNACHI Bunnie. If you guys don't know, she's a good friend of mine. She's been wanting to get into YouTube a lot lately. So I would really appreciate you guys continuing to subscribing and watching her 2 or 3 videos. She'll be back. Don't worry. She will return at some point. She's just taking some time off, especially during the holidays. But she could really use the support. I think she would really appreciate that. And, do that. Just go subscribe to her. She's an amazing cosplayer, an amazing gamer, an amazing talent. I helped her. If you guys go look up her Kagome ASMR, she does ASMRs. I actually did help out with that. I helped editing that, and I also did the voice of Inuyasha for that, so you can hear me play Inuyasha. So go check that out. Other shout out, one more, because we've actually reached out to her recently. She's actually doing really well. She took a break, but she's been keeping in contact. BATTYALANA. BATTYALANA is our Android 18. She has been currently taking a break as well. But guys, go check out her Instagram. I'll put a link below. She does wonderful cosplays. If you guys can go follow her on Instagram, tell her I said hi, send her my regards. Please go do that. I would appreciate that. Other than that, one last announcement before I go. I'm going to try to stretch this to 2 hours. One last announcement. If those who don't know, I have Steam now. Now, I don't game often, like, look at this shit right here, just very quickly. I've done like a whole thing of video games. I barely touch those. I barely play games, only when I feel like it. Lately, I've been spending a lot of time on Steam. A big thank you to MGamer64 Josh for putting Steam on my computer. Half the time on Steam, I'm under BigJackFilms, and I play mostly online on not the EA one, the original Pandemic Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005. I spend most of my time on the servers there. If you guys are ever playing Battlefront 2 on the servers on Steam, actually what's great is on Steam, Battlefront 2 is only like $5, so go get it. It's a wonderful game. It's one of my favorite video games. I might try to set up a server for people who want to join me in a game. For people who are interested, I think that would be a fun idea to do like a game with a bunch of fans online. I may not be able to contact because I'm still trying to figure out how to use Steam. I'm still a newbie to it, so a lot of people say I should try out Twitch. I would love to try out Twitch at some point. I just got to get the right equipment. And one person did ask if I'll ever do Discord. I thought about it. I do use Discord, but I don't use it a lot. And I only use it to contact certain people and talk to people. I am mostly on, like, following people who go on Twitch, like Dr. Terawatt, Evil Incorporated, which you guys go check him out. You know, I'm mostly there to contact certain people for connections. I will sit on maybe doing a Discord. The problem is I don't have the time of day to be an admin. I don't have the time of day to run a Discord server. I'm already having enough as it is, running my website, running my YouTube, running my Facebook, Twitter. It's a nightmare. So, yes, I know, Smith, I am on Discord, but I will consider a Discord. If you do want to join a Discord, maybe check out Queen 18's Discord. Queen 18's a friend of mine, great YouTuber, great Android 18 character YouTuber. She has a Discord. Smith, if you want, ask Queen 18 if you want to send the link in the comments. You guys, I might jump on those at some point, but I am rarely on Discord. If I decide to do Discord, I will consider it, but I will be laying ground rules on my Discord. I will be laying ground rules because it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be, you know what I love about Discord? I'll say this. It's where you can create your own little world, and everybody lives in your society bubble, and you come up with the rules, and you just let them go ahead. I will consider it, but it's not 100%. So I will have very strict rules on Discord. I'm not as crazy as most are on Discord. So bear that in mind. I may be in and out of it, but I'm not going to be there all the time. I will most likely be working, but I will probably set up a Discord at some point. If I do, it'll be in established rules and everything. I'll have to set up an admin set, and you guys will just live in my own little world. Maybe I'll set up, I don't know, the BigJackFilms FDT universe, the FDT base, basically where everybody just goes to the multiverses. It's sort of the hub. I don't know. Let's see what happens. No promises. I will consider a Discord. But again, if you guys want to join me on Steam whenever I'm playing Battlefront 2, the original 2005, go get it. It's on Steam for like $5. I think LucasArts or whatever just updated the servers so you can play online. And if I set up a server, I will let you guys know, and you guys can join me on playing Battlefront 2, where we can capture a command post. They're losing reinforcements. So I love Battlefront 2, so definitely do that. So other than that, guys, of course, if you want to send us fan mail, you can. So at this address, BigJackFilms, PO Box 326, Queensville, Ontario, L0G1R0. We'd really appreciate the letters, gifts, donations, whatever. We'll take a look and we'll talk about it. We want to bring back Fan Mail Fanatics at some point because we do have one package that we are way overdue on talking about from our first sponsor, but we will get to that as soon as we can. But again, guys, thank you all so much for joining this live stream. Support our Patreon, support all those guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, and tune in tomorrow night for the trailer for our next episode, which will be out a week Friday. Until then, I'll see you guys later. Take it easy, take care, and stay safe.